It's deja vu all over again. In the days after the 2016 presidential election, there was a breathless pause while the media did a little self-reflection and admitted we got it wrong, only to do it all over again with a Trump-Russia probe. As wrong as so many were about Trump's chances of becoming president,
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
Many seemed equally convinced that when Trump did win, it was because he'd colluded with Russia.
It is as if there are no shoes on the Trump human centipede that are not about Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia.
Treason. We now have to discuss treason.
No one can control Donald Trump, with the exception of Vladimir Putin.
The accusations hounded him incessantly, from a heckler throwing Russian flags to celebrity indictments.
He is wholly in the pocket of Putin. Republican patriots, where are you? That's an excellent point.
To the former head of the CIA.
I called his behavior treasonous, which is to betray one's trust and to aid and abet the enemy, and I stand very much by that claim.
To attacks by Democrats.
I have for months been trying to tell the American public and everybody else that this president is dangerous, that he's in bed with Putin.
And attacks by some Republicans.
Shameful, and we don't even know what happened in those 2 hours when President Trump and President Putin were alone. Right. Don't we need to know what happened in that conversation?
Yes, we do. That was a big mistake to meet alone.
But Special Counsel Robert Mueller's nearly 2-year-long probe concluded that the Russia conspiracy theory wasn't rooted in reality.
Russia, Russia, Russia.
Even among 7 Americans who were indicted or pled guilty to unrelated charges, Mueller found none of them coordinated with Russia either. That also means no Russia collusion by Donald Trump Jr. or Trump officials Jared Kushner and Paul Manafort at a Trump Tower meeting that was wiretapped by U.S. officials. And so the promised evidence, it turns out, didn't exist.
The British may have already nailed Trump on Russia, on tape.
All you have right now is a circumstantial case.
Actually, no, Chuck. I can tell you that the case is more than that, and I can't go into the particulars, but there is more than circumstantial evidence now, so...
If the presidency is effectively a Russian op, right? If the American presidency right now is the product of collusion between the Russian intelligence services and an American campaign, I mean, that is so profoundly big.
Treason is a crime. Collaborating and conspiring with a hostile foreign power against the United States is a crime.
Gallup has been tracking confidence in the mass media for almost 50 years. John Clifton is Gallup's global managing partner.
Confidence in the mass media peaked in the late 70s when roughly 70% of people said that they had trust and confidence in the mass media. But over the past few decades, that's collapsed down to almost 30% of people who say they have confidence in the mass media.
It's too soon to know how Special Counsel Mueller's findings will impact that rating. But interestingly, Clifton says, during the past 2 years of nonstop Trump-Russia collusion reporting, Americans grew slightly more confident in the media.
Over the past 2 years, it's come up by about 10 points. So now about 40% of people say that they have confidence in the mass media.
Is there any way to know why? Are those people that like Trump or do not like Trump?
We have asked people whether or not they side with Trump or the media in the disputes that they have, and it cuts right across party lines. So you can see that Republicans align with Trump and Democrats align with the mass media.
More than 2 years ago, CNN first reported the bombshell that Russia supposedly had blackmail material on Trump. The liberal website Vox noted that, if true, it could end his presidency before it begins. If false, Trump will be the victim of an enormous slander.
It certainly feels to me like the biggest political story in recent U.S. history, and no one quite knows how it will end.
Now that we have some idea, there have been few corrections from those who so aggressively reported on what may be one of the biggest false conspiracy theories of this decade.
Do not think you can bury this report. Do not think you can bury the evidence in secret by briefing 8 people in Congress and say we've discharged our responsibility. That's not going to cut it.
Russia, Russia, Russia. Resist. Peace.
This week, all the Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee demanded Adam Schiff, a Democrat, resign as chairman for repeatedly claiming there was solid evidence that Trump conspired with Russia. Schiff still insists there is major evidence of collusion. Coming up on Full Measure, streetcars making a comeback in some cities. Are they speeding the commute or wasting your tax dollars?